how to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen.
Well, hey, good morning. It has been a hot minute since we have been here. I'm Brooke, happy to be with you. This is episode 92. We are so close to 100. I could almost taste it. I am so excited. Of course, we are broadcasting live from Every Media in downtown Royal Oak. And, you know, I've gotten quite a few messages from people who were kind of wondering if everything was okay, why we weren't on the air, what was going on. So the short answer to that is yes. But I have to be honest. You know what? I honestly needed that break. It was 3 weeks and it seemed like the perfect number. Although trust me, every Monday I was like, okay, should I be doing something? What am I doing? I should be doing something. But you know, the twins, they were getting home from camp and going into 8th grade, which means their last year of middle school. And here's the caveat. They're going to different schools this year. It is the first time that they've ever been at different schools. So I was a little emotional. Not sure they were, but I definitely was. And the whole idea, you know, trying to understand the process. And of course, they both start school at the same time. So trying to be at the same place at the same time, that was my challenge and trying to figure it out. I'm happy to say everybody is in their assigned seat today. So it's good. It's a relief, but it is good to be back. So, you know, it's funny because we are now at the 5-year mark for their graduation. They are class of 2030. And I remember when they were born in 2012, it seemed so far away. And now it is just 5 years away. And it's just kind of crazy how much, and it's so cliche, but how fast time flies, right? But a side note, so they love watching shows from the 1900s. That's what they call it, right? The 1900s. Like we're back in the pioneer days. So we love watching Doogie Howser. I thought that would be kind of cool, right? To watch Doogie Howser. They love Neil Patrick Harris because of How I Met Your Mother and what a, womanizer he is. And so I said, we're going to watch Doogie Howser and you're going to love this. So it was hilarious because they love it so much. But there was one episode when he was typing, because remember, he always ended every episode on his huge computer at the time. And it said, gee, I wonder what life will be like in 2025. And it was so crazy. They actually squealed like he had said their name. And they were so excited, like, that's the year we're in. That's the year we're in. It was kind of hilarious. But honestly, they were cheering and I was like, okay, don't cry, don't cry. So it's just kind of how you all navigate it, right? It's just kind of how you get it done and how you get through it. But I knew, and this is the first time too, being your own boss per se, it was the first time that I didn't have to worry about vacation days or taking time off or who was going to cover or what was going on or even feeling that guilt about not being at work. So, this is going on 2 years almost. It will be 2 years in November. And that has been amazing. So that's my opening statement, and it's just been a whirlwind summer, and we are super glad to be back. So thank you. So here's the funny thing about social media, right? So often we are friends with people, but we don't really know them, and that's the case today.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Emily Jacobs, we have been friends on social media, right? And so you do so much, and it's so great to finally connect with you and to actually connect with you. What is it? IRL, right? In real life.
IRL.
IRL.
Love it.
So welcome. Thank you so much, Jude, of course. You are here as well. Thank you it's been years since I've seen you. We actually know each other.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm excited to talk to you. But I'm going to start with Emily, if that's okay. All right. So Emily, you are the founder of Empower Moms.
Yes.
And what is this? Tell me.
Empowered Moms is a movement based on one mission, that dreams don't end at motherhood.
Okay.
There's a big story around that if you want
it. Yes, tell me, please.
I'll tell you the story. So as a little girl, I watched my mom kind of slowly deteriorate over time, wondering, don't you just get to choose a different outcome when one's not working? Almost like if you're seeing someone in a victim mentality, you're wondering, why are we not choosing different paths?
Was she a stay-at-home mom?
She was a stay-at-home mom, and she was always talking about going back to work.
Okay.
And then got caught up in the stay-at-home momish things, right? So she volunteered and did a lot of things. But it was one of those things where I'm watching her, this passionate, vibrant woman, and it was like chipping away. And so I'm wondering, is this what motherhood is about? Because if it is, I still wanted it. The thing is, I knew deep down I was gonna be a mom, and I would do it differently. And so I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that you don't give up your life,
right?
But there's ways that it enhances and ways you have sacrifices. So essentially, Empowered Moms was born because I kept hearing women after women, moms after moms after moms saying the same types of things that my mom was saying. And I'm like, but don't we want a different story? Don't we want to change this?
Can't we look at it a different way?
Can we look at it differently? Right. And then you could tell desperately they did. So I thought, well, I'm gonna start. It started with the idea of an event.
Okay.
So
we love events.
We love events. I love events.
We love events. Everyone loves
so
events.
Much. So I thought, you know what? And I was dreaming about the name. I'm like, it's going to be Empowered Moms.
Love it.
So many people said that's too common. That's too this, that. You know, I heard all the noise. I'm like,
sure.
It's just the name. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Right.
It's just the name. So I dreamed up this event. And in my previous life, I was a nurse. And I planned nursing conferences and events. So it was like this weird natural thing that I loved doing. So I'm going to put this event on, but I'm too scared. So it's too scary to start that. So I thought, well, my friend said, well, why don't you just have some people over at your house and call it like a launch, like a pre-launch. So it started with 4 women in my living room.
Okay.
That then turned into a launch party we just had a little panel of speakers. That was a few months later. And then turned into our big event. And then we kind of made this whole community around it.
Okay, so what year did this start?
2023.
Okay.
Not very long
so
ago.
you're coming on your 2 years
I'm on
too,
my
right?
Yes,
We're on
I
our
know.
2 years,
I'm
right?
like, it's
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so you said it started with 4 women. And so what was that first conversation like?
Oh, first of all, I was freaked out because I think I invited 100 to my house.
4 showed.
I called it a pre-launch party, because it was too scary.
Right.
It's
for
scary
sure
to launch something else. 20-year nursing career. Now I'm like, we're going to do this thing called Empowered Moms. Yes. So, but it was this beautiful conversation. The women that were supposed to be there were there. We sat on the couch drinking some wine, having conversations. I said, I think I'm going to do this thing. They're like, yeah, absolutely. We need this. People need this. Right. And so I'm like, how many people? What? Like, I want the details. And 2 of them were entrepreneurs.
Were they? You're like,
2 of them were entrepreneurs.
If you were going to plan this event, how would you do it?
Exactly. But I had it all, in my mind of what it was going to look like. I just needed a runway and I needed time to lead into it. So it's one of those things I think as an entrepreneur, you just say, I'm going to do this. And then whoever shows up, I'm not worried about the number. I'm going to pour into the people. And then it just kind of grew from there.
It is so stressful though, right? Because I do the After Dark show, and then that's when we're out in restaurants. We're at the Cambria in July, and you always have that fear of, what if nobody comes? What if nobody comes? What are you going to do? It's like start karaoke, and what are you doing? So it is that stress, but then you do have to trust. Yes. At some point, you just have to let it go and know that what you said, it is going to be what it will be.
Well, if not this many people were talking about this, then I wasn't going crazy.
Right.
I remember though when I booked the hotel venue that first year, and I was like, okay, but when could I get the deposit back? So I put a little date on the calendar, just in case.
Just in case, right.
And then as soon as I launched it online, one of my friends who lived in Arizona, mind you, bought a VIP ticket.
Love it.
And then messaged, and I was crying. So I was like, wait, I have to put this event on. One person's coming, right? You know
but a VIP is coming. But a VIP.
And then she messaged me and she goes, oh, by the way, I can't come. I just wanted you to know how much I supported you.
Oh, so she just bought the ticket.
She just bought it.
That's awesome.
To say, keep going.
Keep going.
I can't come this year. And I'm like, I'm crying at this point.
They say that there's a mentality to that though. Because if you see a tip jar and there's no money in it, like on the counter somewhere, they say that you're not going to You're probably not going to add any money. But as soon as somebody, and I've watched it, because as soon as somebody puts money in, somebody else right behind them does.
Wild.
Wow. It is kind of crazy. I don't know what that mentality is, but it's like, oh, well, they're doing it, so I guess I should.
Or there's money in it. Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's kind of similar to that.
Oh my gosh. Well, then I was like, well, now I got to really launch this thing. I got to get this thing in motion. Right. Because Brenda bought a ticket. She's not coming.
She's not even coming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So then how was the very first event, the main event?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gave me the sign that this is.
To keep going.
To keep going. When I called in some friends to help, but when I got people to sponsor the event that I had never met, I'm like, you literally just gave money in exchange of a sponsorship with packages that I put together, but that blew my mind. I was like, let's get on a call. Let's go out for coffee.
Right.
No, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't know if I've even met some of the first year sponsors.
Really?
Yes.
What, they didn't come.
They didn't. Oh, and then they ended up, mom life. A couple of them had the sick child and
Right.
things like that. So isn't that wild?
That
So it
is
was
wild.
just, yeah, all of this around just the notion that dreams don't end at motherhood and the fact that we can rewrite our story at any age, at any time. And instead of putting our circumstances as our obstacles,
Mhm.
we get to decide, what is working, what's not working. Last year, I kind of took a season of like, I got to pull back. When you were talking about, I was like sitting here so excited when you were talking about, I took a few weeks off. I'm like, because that is something that's it feels so scary. Like things are going to fall apart if I take a day off.
Correct.
But why
Yes.
did we create these worlds in the first place?
Right.
And then we think, oh, we're so special. People actually care, which of course we do. We care.
Right.
That's why people reached out to you.
Right.
But are they
at the
really
same
going to
time-
notice? Like,
Right.
are they really going to care?
Right.
And you're pouring into your family, which is exactly, again, why a lot of us create these opportunities for ourselves in the first place, is that I want to spend more time with my kids this summer, so I won't take as many clients or I won't do as much planning or I'll get extra help. Where will I need that support to rewrite that story too? Because if I'm not okay, and this is what I coach women on burnout
Right.
and boundaries, if you're not okay, then what was the point of all this?
Exactly. Yeah. And, so that was kind of the thing too, that I was thinking about that. And on the third Monday, when I didn't have the show, they were looking at me like, don't you have somewhere to be? And I'm like, do I? And I'm like, no, we're not doing anything today.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is that, when I was working at WWJ, I never had dinner with them because I was anchoring afternoon. So, I missed dinner. I would come home probably about 7 and they'd be doing their homework or, so you miss that time. But as the time has passed and one day we were at dinner and I said, isn't this great to have dinner with you guys? I have missed this so much. And they're like, we've always had dinner together.
So
And
they didn't even
they
notice.
didn't even, but it was so interesting because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, oh, it did. Oh, that's weird. It was just weird to me
Yeah.
that they didn't really they did pay attention because I still hear about it. Right.
Yeah.
Remember we didn't have dinner together. I'm like, we're having dinner together now. So what's the
Right.
beef?
Exactly.
That's so
Exactly.
Okay, Jude. So I see you kind of over there looking, smiling. And how was your mom? I know she's gone, but how was she?
Oh, she was wonderful. She was a wonderful person, and I tell you, it's fascinating listening to this and your experiences and your journey. Over the years, my mom was I would say one of the strongest people I have ever met in my life. And she just, and it was that quiet strength. It's that she wasn't loud. She wasn't aggressive or anything like that. But she was very calm, and she had a very inner strength and whatnot. And I've always admired it. And so it's one of those things. Some people think strength is going out there, and sometimes it's the loudest person in the room. Sometimes it's the largest person in the room, and but she was small. She was quiet and she was kind.
Oh,
Just
love that.
just a wonderful, wonderful individual. And I'll never forget when she passed away. She was very resolved when she was passing away. She said, "Now's my time."
Really?
And I remember it was my sister. She said, "Well, what are we going to do without you?"
Yeah.
And she says, "You will do the best you can."
Oh
Oh
gosh.
my gosh.
I'm like, oh gosh.
And she said, she looks at us, and it's going to make me tear up a
I
little
know
bit,
it.
maybe. But she said to us, she says, all of you are my treasures, and
Wow.
I want you to love each other and get along. And it's just, just listening to you speak about this, it's just, I love what I'm hearing about your book and your journey and getting together with people and empowering people and also choosing your own path. With parents, it's very easy to see something and think maybe I need to do the same things or say the same things, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
You can create your own journey and your own path, what you're talking about. So
But aren't those there are those moments though where we say we're not going to be like our moms or our dad,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you realize you are.
Yeah.
And right?
There's also
Say, we were-
surprise.
we were
moments,
talking about this.
Wait a minute, but there's also that understanding that comes as you get older. Sometimes, I remember being younger and certain things. They may have said certain things or done certain things, and I didn't quite understand them. then you get older and wow,
and now you do
okay.
understand it, right?
You know, and now I understand.
I believe they call that the light bulb moment, right? Is
Yes.
that what it's
I like to
called?
say I see things in cartoons and,
Well,
that
you are
light
an
bulb
artist too,
pops
right?
up. Oh,
So,
yeah, I
you're
do.
an
I do
artist,
like
so
to
yeah.
draw little cartoons
Right.
and make other pieces of art.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have your book with me.
Yes.
Okay, so the title of this is so interesting. So it's Live Your Life for You, in parentheses, not your mom. Okay, so tell me about this.
Yes. So this is a story about myself and my mother. If it's not obvious, it's not. But essentially, it was me recovering from people pleasing and perfectionism, and being in this generation where if I'm making my mom happy, everything's happy type of thing. So I learned how to set healthy boundaries through this relationship. I actually went through a lot of blame with her for a while, but it's essentially a recovery process for the daughters.
Yeah, because there's actually like questions.
There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of journaling, things like that. And so it's meant to kind of pull out the pieces of us that we are looking to rewrite. And then also at the same time, not doing something to just make our moms happy or our bosses or our dads or our children. Because there's times my husband's like, wait, I know you were like, trying not to people please your mom, but I think you're doing it to the kids now. You're trying to make them
really?
happy. And then if you go do this experience with them and they're not happy, you're upset. Who was this for? And so when you were talking about, not doing the same things that your parents did, there was times in that moment, once we had the awareness that I just did the thing I said I wasn't going to do. I call us like the cycle breaking, generation. What would I have wanted when I was 7? Or what would I have wanted when I was a kid that my mom didn't do? And to me, it was the circle back and saying, listen, I'm sorry, I got a little mad there. I do that sometimes, but this isn't about you, or something along the lines of apology.
So it's kind of like the story arc, because there's the beginning, middle, and the end, right? So
Yes.
it's kind of like wrapping it all up
It's
so
wrapping
you
it
can
up.
move on, right?
So you can move on. And I think this book was a healing journey for the daughters, because I feel like daughters in this generation, in whatever age this is, we still were people pleasing our moms. And I coach a lot about this. I talk a lot about this, but the people pleasers, I was just telling my husband this the other day, I'm like, we're actually kind of selfish.
Oh.
And some people, their reactions are like, no, I'm not. I'm a people pleaser. But understand this though. So if I'm giving you a compliment and you discern it and you're just like, oh no, this sweater, no, I don't. If I'm like, I love your sweater, and you're like, oh, not this sweater.
I love this sweater.
So that's like you're anti-people pleasing me. So like you can't even accept it. And so I'm trying to
interesting.
help people pleasers receive.
Because so often we do that, right?
Because so often we push it away because we feel so I don't want to take that compliment. I can't take that I can't take the help. So I work with a lot of women now on boundaries and reversing that people pleasing. Like you have to put yourself in the boat too. And so a lot of this was against kind of like, in a sense, I don't mean to say it badly, but like my mom didn't practice this way. And so what I kept thinking of was like, I need to practice differently. I need to take care of myself for then my kids. I need to take care of myself for myself, right? And so it's not so much, an anti-mom book, because we're moms.
Right.
It's saying, listen, you do get to choose differently. And even if my mom's not alive anymore, but I do feel like this really strong connection that my mom tells me all the time is this book isn't about us. It's for everybody. But she couldn't, if she was alive, she wouldn't have been able to, that we had to air some dirty laundry in there too.
For sure.
Because it makes sense. I'm like, this is what we went through. So essentially, it's really helping the daughters like breathe and say, it's time to now take care of ourselves.
How long did it take you to write this book?
Oh, that's a funny question, Brooke. Well, I'm a little bit of a ambitious person, so
You're going to say like 2 hours.
exactly 30 seconds. No, I wrote it. I found a woman that had this write a book in 30 days. Now the idea was in my brain for
Was
7.
it 1995?
It was 1995. No, but it was in my brain for 7 years, and the book was going to be all about choices.
Okay.
We always have a choice. That's not what the title says, but it's in the tagline in the back because I was like, I got to put it somewhere. And it just sat there, just a little choices with a couple outlines for 7 years. Okay, I'm going to write something about boundaries and something about blaming and something about this. Just sat there.
Okay,
and I
so
was like,
during the 7 years, your mom was still alive.
correct.
Okay, so
But I knew it was going to be about us, and I
Okay.
knew she wouldn't be able to be alive.
Okay.
So it sat there for those reasons. And then about 2 years after she died, I'm like, I was coaching all these women after I was resigned from healthcare. I was coaching all these women hearing the same themes coming up, the same themes. And so I thought, all right, well, then this isn't just for me or my daughters. Like I was just going to write like a love letter to my daughters type of book. Like, hey, I'm sorry.
Sorry in
about that.
advance.
Right,
Check for
exactly.
therapies in the back.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So that's what I'm like, I got to get this book out. So I wrote the first draft in 30 days. By the way, I don't recommend this. Don't do it this way. Even my book coach was like, please don't tell people this. But I did. I wrote the first draft in 30 days.
We have a librarian here, right?
And it was the best 30 days. Like,
Really?
I got it all out. Finally, I got to put it all out. First draft doesn't matter.
Love it.
Just get it out. Second draft was 30 days. Anyway, so about 6 months it took me.
Okay. So
which is insane.
That is insane.
To get it to publication. And I'm not saying it was healthy. I did sacrifice too much. I burnt out. There's things I now correct those behaviors to help other women.
Right.
I was up at 5
But you had to get it out, though.
I had to get it out.
See, so that I think that's the key. You had to get it out.
6 months minimum. 12 months would be recommended.
Okay.
But yes.
Jude, I have a question for you. So are men people pleasers? Are you a people pleaser?
Oh, I've had those moments, and I can connect with what you're saying, because I think it does, depending on, and I think when you asked about my mother, I think my mother to a certain extent was a people pleaser and whatnot. And I kind of learned some of those behaviors, and it took me years to kind of realize that you can take care of yourself. I think, what you said about people pleasing, I just think that, sometimes if you get in your moments and you sacrifice some of yourself, and it's great to sacrifice yourself, I think, to a certain extent, but there does come a point, if it becomes to your detriment,
Yes.
that maybe you need to take care of yourself. And anybody who knows, who's gone through a project, if you've gone out of your way for something, and then you stop and you look around when that project is over, and you look around and there's all this chaos around you, and you're like, now I need to clean up and reset. And oh my gosh, I walked outside, and there's the wind. I can feel the wind. I can see the sunshine, and I can live life.
Right.
So yes, and it can take years to get into situations with a healthy balance. Of being that kind person who can help and support people, but you have to support yourself. They say if you're put the if you're on an airline, or put the mask on yourself before you help anybody else, because you have to be functional in order to be able to help somebody, whether it's your friends, your family. It's so important to be able to take care of yourself. So I want to read this book now.
I wish I had
my copy.
No, that's
like,
okay. I will
come
be
on.
looking it up.
But you're exactly right. You have to know that limit, and our limits change every day.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't sleep well last night, guess where that limit is? And so I'm fine being a people pleaser. And like you said, I actually love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Great.
As long as I don't go in my overgiving. Because if I'm in the
right?
overgiving, then I'm getting bitter and resentful, and I start blaming and taking it out on my kids, or my husband.
That's important. Yeah.
So exactly what you said. You kind of have to know where you're at and where your checkpoint is that day.
Right,
or that
and
moment.
what you said, I was talking about just the physical environment, but there is that mental and emotional health of taking care of yourself, so you can function, from day to day, whether it's going to work or dealing with family or colleagues or friends. That's great. Building a healthy environment.
Trying to.
Yay.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're not perfect over here.
Right. So the interesting thing, the twins, they're 13 and I'm an only child. And so that impacts me when they start arguing and doing their deal, and I literally have to go into the other room because it upsets me, because I'm like, no, you guys are twins. You're supposed to be close. I never had a brother or sister. So come on, get with it. Be nice,
Yeah.
And then they're like, why are you putting that pressure on us?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, well, why are you pressuring? Of course we love each other, but we're going to fight, Mom.
For a moment.
And
yes.
I'm like, oh, okay then. And you're like, wow, that just came out of like 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. And I think too, it's important, and it took me a while to realize that sometimes the only way people can learn to deal with their problems is to go through those situations where you can have conversations. And maybe at first people trip along the way and they maybe say things that they don't need to say. But then over time, you can learn to communicate and have a conversation, healthy conversations, to build a good environment for yourselves.
Yeah. You won't always be there to stop it either.
Yeah.
I know. It's not hard to say.
Sad.
Yeah.
That's what I say to with my kids. I'll say when they're like, Mommy, can you get me this? Can you do this? And I say, and it actually makes me cry sometimes, but I'm like, what would you do if I wasn't here? No, I wasn't trying to think like morbidly, but like, of course it comes because my mom's not there. So I'm like, what would you, whereas, my mom always wanted to give you that answer.
Okay.
And I think, so with my kids, I'm like, what would you do if I wasn't here? And then I get to see where their brains are going. Well, I would get on that stool and I would climb up there and then I would get that. And I was like,
okay,
go
so
ahead. Let me see.
Yeah,
Let me
go
see
ahead.
how you do that.
It. Yeah.
But then she found out where the treats were when she did that. So I had to come up with a different plan.
Everything.
Right.
So it's interesting you say that, just because the fact that obviously I am AMA, advanced maternal age, right? I was 40
Yes.
when I had them,
Yeah.
and my ex-husband is even older. And so they are a little embarrassed by that, I think.
Okay.
Okay, a little, they're a little embarrassed, but they're very aware. I mean, they've been lucky enough to know their grandparents, but they've passed
Yeah.
now, except for two.
Okay.
But they've had, so they've had that experience, and a lot of people don't have that experience
Yeah.
with grandparents.
Mm.
So I tell them, listen, you're lucky that you've had that, but they've lost 3 grandparents,
Okay.
and so now they do say that. Oh, well, you and Dad aren't going to be here forever.
Oh, my kids say it all the time.
Yeah, but it's it's that reality
Yes.
of, oh my gosh, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Who's going to make your chocolate chip pancakes?
Right. Right.
But it is something,
Yeah.
it is something that we, that is, I think it's always in the back of our minds, especially if you've lost a parent,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah.
so it's something that we have to kind of think about, but not dwell on and not get like weird about it.
We'll almost start like kind of little bit training them now,
Mhm.
but you're right. I mean, we never know. And so, my oldest daughter will say stuff like, well, Dad's older than you, so he's going to die first. I'm like, that is not how it works.
Right.
But we've talked about, actually, I mean, I'm on this tangent for a minute, but like, and even in nursing, I'm like, our bodies, we die when our bodies stop working.
Mm.
And so it doesn't matter what age you are, or maybe there was something tragic or something not tragic, or you're in the hospital. Because I didn't want to get into this habit of saying, just because you're in the hospital, like grandma was in the hospital and got sick and died. Well,
Oh,
they
right.
might have been in the hospital and they might be sick someday.
Mhm.
So I'm like, it's just when the body stops and it's done. Like,
Mhm.
and so I don't have to go into all the details, of course.
Right.
But, so I keep reminding them that, because I think it's important that it could be any age. My grandpa lived till 101.
Wow.
And he was mentally totally with it,
That's awesome.
so yeah,
So we
I don't
never know,
And then my
right?
mom was 70 something. So you never know. And
Right.
I think just even that preparing of, not that we want to do it, but in
Mhm.
little pieces, like, well, show me how you would do the laundry. Nope,
Interesting.
that's definitely not the right way.
Mhm.
Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
Load that
so you don't-
dishwasher.
so you don't break it. Yes, exactly.
It's like, so Jude, what was one skill that your mom taught you?
Oh my goodness. Well, some baking. As
Oh, I
she
love this.
she baked bread, and I think she learned, I believe, from her mother, who was a fantastic baker, and I remember her baking bread for us, and other things, when we were younger, and she knead the dough, and every week. And I always, growing up, I always thought, we have this homemade bread, everybody's eating the store-bought bread, and I was like, yeah, I don't know that I appreciate it as much. And then later on, I appreciated it so much more. And later on, as she got older, she kind of made a different recipe, and she gave it to me. So even though I don't bake a lot at the
Okay.
moment, I did
Right.
have some opportunities to it. It helped me appreciate it a
Awesome.
lot more. So and it is an exact science to a certain extent. And she was an expert at it, and her mother was an experts,
Mhm.
I should
Okay.
say. So I might, when I leave here, do a little baking.
see, you'll have to send us a
I'll
picture
have
and
to
maybe
do
even some
something
bread.
like that. So thank you
Yeah.
for bringing up that
Yeah.
memory.
And it's funny too, because I mean, like coffee with me, caffeinated, is all about my grandfather.
Oh.
Because when I was little, he worked at Ford, and every Saturday I'd wait by the phone as I was growing up and wait for him to call and say, "Hey, did you have breakfast yet?" And I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "Okay, I'm coming to get you." And we go to the Coney Island, and he'd have coffee, and then I'd have a little cup of coffee. And so that was kind of our thing. And then even when I moved to California, when I would come back to visit, I'll never forget the funniest thing. I was at my mom's, and my mom doesn't drink coffee. And here he comes carrying a glass coffee pot across the lawn that he had driven with, full of coffee for me. I, I mean, and it was just it was so special,
Yeah.
and that was kind of our thing. So
Okay.
bread, coffee.
Yeah.
What's your thing as far as food?
Oh my gosh. You might have to come back to me on
Okay.
that one.
All right. Yeah.
Um,
But isn't it funny how
just like being
Yeah.
in my parents' house.
Yes,
Like my
like
dad
the
still lives in the
smell
same
or-
house. Oh
okay.
yeah, I'll just go there and
Okay.
sit on the couch. Actually, just sitting on the couch there, I'm
Mhm.
like, this is nice.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
See,
just
the familiarity.
yes.
The familiarity and the memories.
Nice.
It is so amazing. Okay, Jude, we're going to wait for that bread man.
I love it.
Well, listen, so this show, when I started it back in November, almost 2 years ago now, is all about relationships, right? So that is kind of the thing. And I mentioned the After Dark show. which we had back in July. It was at the Cambria. And so this is kind of funny. Dr. Saul Kogan, I don't know if you know the name. He's kind of like the media doctor, right?
Okay.
He's the founder of the Nerve and Disc Institute. He was on the After Dark show, and he was so funny. He's like, I don't even know why I'm on here. Why am I on here? What am I talking about? Because it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, well, when people come to see you and they're in pain, doesn't that affect their relationships? And he's like, oh yeah, so much so. So that's kind of the deal. So I had a chance to talk to one of his patients, Doug, about his pain. And Doug says that he barely could walk into the office when he first saw Dr. Saul. So let's watch.
I'm Doug Lemberg from West Bloomfield. 3 weeks ago today, tried during the rainstorm, I don't know if you remember it, but it was coming down and I instinctively tried to run to my car. 1, 2, 3, knee went out, that was that. I heard about Dr. Kogan from a friend of a friend, highly recommended, said, give it a shot. He's got something for you. And the next day, went in to see Doc, crawled in. I mean, I couldn't move. My swollen, it was shot. I hobbled in, kind of like jumping with 1 foot, right up the parking lot in, where I couldn't wait to sit down, but I couldn't move. Finally had the MRI and torn meniscus and some arthritis in there. Well, my biggest concern was, and fear, was knee replacement. I'm just not, maybe that one day that happens, but if Doc can push it off 5 years, 10 years, then he did his job. Because I think that's inevitable in most people. 3 weeks, I'm back from, let's just say, 0% to, let's say, 70, which is something I would have never guessed. I actually think I'll be at 90 in a week or two. When I leave there, it's I don't want to say an instant relief, but there's certainly a relief walking out. And then, of course, that's the step back comes during the day, and then later on, feels better. Wake up the next day, feels even better. Then it's, like I said, another step back. So it's a gradual process. But I can't believe the treatment's doing what it's doing so quickly. The treatment process is pretty quick, pain-free, and you're in and out of the office within 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Well, I coach football, so last week was pretty tough. I was on my feet for doubles all week long, and I had 15 to 20,000 steps a day. So obviously at the end of the day, I'm pretty tired, my knee's sore, but wake up the next day, I'm ready to go. Without doctor's help, there's no way I could have gone through doubles. The knee restoration RX treatment is, I can't explain what it does or how it's doing it, but it's doing it, it's working. Very happy with it. It's a secret that the doc came up with, I believe. I would highly recommend people try the Nerve and Disc Institute. 3 weeks ago after it happened, I literally thought that this is it, knee replacement coming soon. And now I don't have to worry about it for, let's say, 20 years.
And again, that is Doug. And he was talking to me. You couldn't hear me, but he was talking to me. And Dr. Kogan has treated over 10,000 patients. He's been doing this for over 32 years successfully, a very holistic approach. So go to his website. That is nervediscinstitute.com. Check it out if you have any problems, because as I said a minute ago, pain affects every aspect of your life and especially your relationships, right? So that's kind of the deal. But Dr. Kogan, he is a great guy. And it's very funny that he's going to be embarrassed if I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So he was on the After Dark show, and there were like 60, 65 people there, and a lot of women. And so I got so many messages after asking me, is he single? What's the doctor's deal? So I keep teasing him, saying, okay, listen, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, what, are you into matchmaking now? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So that, a little side note there, he's going to kill me about that one, but whatever, he'll get over it. So September, I love the fall. It is my favorite time of year. I'm all about cider and donuts, but another reason why I love fall is because all the local theaters, they kick off their seasons. Yes. And of course, Jude, you've been hanging out with us. And you are actually here to talk about the show you're in, Man of La Mancha, but it has been so great to hang out with you and to have these conversations with you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you.
And it's a pleasure to talk about your book, too. So, yes.
So Man of La Mancha is opening where?
It is opening at the Birmingham Village Players in Birmingham. It's a wonderful little theater on Woodward Avenue by 15 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, do you know a
Yes.
lot about the show?
So you know it's kind of a weird show, right? It's a little.
Yes.
You play three characters, so you are the man of La Mancha, right?
Yes, I am the
Okay.
man of La Mancha. So the story it goes like this. So it begins. There's an author, Cervantes, who wrote a book, Don Quixote. So it starts out. Cervantes is imprisoned by the Inquisition, and he goes into this prison, and with his servant and. Before he can appear before the Inquisition, he is taken and he is put on trial by his fellow prisoners, and they have this unwritten manuscript. He's this failed author. He's a failed tax collector and a failed poet, and he has this partially written manuscript. And the prisoners take it and they're going to burn it, everything. And before they can do it, he says, "Wait, please put me on trial." And for this trial, he decides that he's going to put on a play. And all the characters in this play are the prisoners in this prison, and they take whatever they have in the prison, and they make costumes out of them, and they use them as props, and they build scenes, and they put on a play. And some of the people are like, "Wait a minute, this isn't a trial. This is ridiculous."
Is this a musical?
And so the play, in this play, the character Don Quixote is a famous character, is a famous book. Is this character? He's this gentleman who reads all these books about knights and nations and kings and ogres and giants, and he decides that he says, "Wait a minute, life doesn't have to be what I see it, what everybody sees it. And this time there are no knights. He decides he's going to become a knight, and he's going to go around and he's going to fight giants, and he's going to find his love of his life, his Dulcinea. He hasn't found love yet, and so he goes out into the world. He asks his servant Sancho to come with him, and they're going to ride out on his old horse, and he's going to take his grandfather's armor, and he's going to ride out. And he's going to right the wrongs in the world by being a knight.
From prison.
Yes, well, in prison. So, and I do play three different characters. It's a play within a play. Mm-hmm. So there's the Cervantes character who plays Don Quixote. But Don Quixote is actually Alonso Quijana. Alonso Quijano decides he's going to be Don Quixote. So it's really a fascinating play when it all comes together. And the music is fantastic.
It is a musical, right?
Oh, it is a musical,
yeah, it's a musical.
Yes. There's a very famous song, probably the most well-known song, is to The Impossible Dream. Mm-hmm. And I first heard this song. We grew up listening to records as kids, and there was the original album, and then of course there's Peter O'Toole, who played in the movie version of it. But there's that famous song, "To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to try when your arms are too weary, to run where the brave dare not go." And those words, they resonate with you. And so I grew up with it as a kid, and I wrote a little parody of it. It was and it was, "I am I, Don Quixote, the man of La Mancha. The dinner bell calls and I go." That's not the actual lyrics, but I loved it so much. I'd make believe, and then so I lived with it for a long time. And 21 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was working, and a friend of mine came to the window and had ordered something, and they said to me, they knew that I loved this show. I absolutely adored it. They said, there are auditions at a local theater in Birmingham. And I said, "Oh, that's great. I'm not familiar with this place, but I'll look it up later." I just made dinner. I hadn't really eaten anything all day long, and I just made dinner. I'm looking on the internet to look up these auditions. It's 7:00, and I find, auditions are that day. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, they're that day. No other day." It was the second day of auditions, and they start at 7:00 right now. And so I'm looking at my dinner. I think I took one or two bites. I said, "Oh, toss it in the fridge. I had it out there, and I was hungry. I had just gotten out of work, and I think my hair was a lot longer at that time. And I go in there, and they were so delightful. Oh, they were so wonderful to me. I was 40. I was unprepared. I did not plan to audition that day, and I show up. I was unprepared, and I was starving, and they allowed me up on stage, and they asked me if I would be a muleteer in the show. Many of the characters, some of the characters are muleteers. These rough men who are staying at this inn, and Don Quixote and Dulcinea and Sancho. They have to deal with these rough characters, and so I did the show, and actually there's some interesting things. So that was 21 years ago. I had that opportunity to do it, and I've been and I had another opportunity again at St. Dunstan's. I did the show again as a muleteer.
Oh, okay.
But now
And
I
now
have the
you're it.
opportunity
Oh my
You
God.
are the
to
guy.
actually play the character. But I knew back then I was not ready. There's
Okay.
a time and place for everything, and what I learned to appreciate over the years is that this story, it talks about, and what people can relate to, the quest. So following the quest and following your dreams to reach the unreachable star. And so there's this quest, but it's not always about the quest. It's about the journey, the journey you take to lead to the quest. And you don't have to, and you've talked about this a bit. You don't have to do what everybody tells you to do, and you don't have to see things in the same way that everybody sees them. Because in this show, for example, where one person might see, they come across an inn. One person sees that, well, that's an inn. Well, Sancho he says that's an inn. Quixote says, no, that's a castle, or castle as he might pronounce it. And so, it's that idea that, sometimes perception is not reality. Your reality is what you make of it. And so, what I've learned over the years is that the journey that you take, it helps you to where you can be the person that you need to be or that you want to be. And that's the most important part. And, they asked in the play, in the question, well, you're going to lose, you're going to fail is what they say. And, he's like, it doesn't matter whether I win or lose, as long as I follow the quest. And the world will be better for this. And if you can make the world a better place, that is one of the most important messages you have. Don't worry about failing in the end. Worrying about following that journey. You may not end up where you thought you were going to be, but you'll end up where you need to be. And if the world is a better place, that's what matters. And that in the end can help you feel calm and peace that you've done something good in the world.
I love that. That is amazing. I cannot wait to see this.
Yeah. Oh, it's a delightful show.
And how amazing that you have been on this journey with this show, right? And don't you have a special collection?
I do. I have a large collection of Don Quixote items. And so over the years, I found over the years that I love Don Quixote, so I started collecting them, and then I ran into there's some statues that you can run into. I think many of them were made maybe in the 1960s or 70s over the years, but there are some more modern ones, and so I'd run into them in antique shops or flea markets or thrift stores, wherever, and every so often I'd pick them up. They just build. I had this whole
So how
army.
many do you have?
Oh my gosh! It's funny you mentioned that. They've built over time. I do not know how many I have. It's definitely, I would say, over 20. But I have some up here.
Are they
and
life
then-
size? Are they little? What?
Well, they're various sizes.
Okay.
They can. I have very small ones that
Okay.
maybe 6 inches, but I also have ones that are maybe 3
Yeah.
feet alongside. So
Are they going to be at the
yes.
theater? Are you taking your collection?
No, there are some at the
Oh, are
theater.
there?
In fact,
Okay.
I didn't know that I had as many as I had in this location, but I do have some statues, and I do have some other memorabilia, some etchings. The Gustave Doré are
That's cool.
famous etchings, and then I actually have a record that I used to listen to in college. The one that I used to listen to over and over again. When I was down, you'd if I listen to these and listen to the words, it just made me feel a little bit better, especially if you're feeling down. There's words, and if you fall, you rise again. And, those kind of words, it can help pick you up and empower you. And I do have one. I actually, over the years, since I collected so many of them, and especially wood carvings, I actually made a wood carving.
Really?
Yes, I made a wood carving of Don Quixote, and that statue is at the theater.
Oh, how cool.
Yes,
Is it in the
yes.
show or in the lobby?
It is in the lobby of the
Okay.
theater. So I was very fortunate to have that inspiration. And honestly, it's one of the most Don Quixote moments I can think of, because I didn't know that I actually was going to finish that thing. I did not think that I could wood carve anything.
You're like, surprise!
I know. And so I just, it was one of those things. I really, really wanted to make a wood carving because I loved it so much. And so I took this piece of wood and I started this journey carving this statue, and it seemed ridiculous to me. I had spent so much time on it. I had a few tools that I had lying around, and I started whittling away at this wood. I have some scars from it. I made a few mistakes along the way,
Okay, well, that's all right.
and over time it started to take form. And, I sometimes spent nights and a couple days just working on this statue. And there was that moment where, it was getting to be close done. And I was like, wow, this thing is looking really good. And I start carving in some of the details. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this actually took shape. Now, in the show, they talk about appearance not being reality. And one thing that fascinates me about wood carvings and this particular carving is that in the show, an inn could be a castle, a windmill could be a giant. But I say too, when you talk about a wood carving, a block of wood could be a statue. You could see it as a block of wood, or you could see it as a statue, or it could be both. But appearance is not reality. It just depends on your perception as an artist. And I've always been fascinated that, and I've done this with other wood carvings since, is that I've taken scraps of wood. I was in a production of Camelot once, and there were some scraps of wood from the set that were thrown away. And I asked if I could take a couple, and I carved some statues from that, an Arthur statue and a Guinevere, and then a Lancelot statue. And what fascinated me, you can take, and they even talk about it, that, what is insanity? It could, to seek treasure where there is only trash. You could take a block of wood out of the garbage and you can carve it into something wonderful, if you love it. If you really want to make something wonderful, it can happen. And I get a little bit of that from my father, I'll admit, because he didn't really necessarily have much, but he taught me, if I wanted something, you don't have to buy it. You can make it. And it doesn't even have to be something that is made out of the nicest materials. You can take something that's discarded and you can repurpose it and make it into something you love. Whether, if you were younger, and as when I was younger, we made some toys out of things that were discarded and whatnot. And so I think I took that, as an adult, and just kind of decided that I would do my own version of that. And it's been a difficult journey to be able to pull that off, but it's been satisfying to, and to be able to have created some wonderful pieces that I enjoy for
Right.
myself.
And it seems like this whole thing is a full circle moment for you, right? I
It
mean,
is.
to be in
Yeah.
the show and to be playing the main character, three of them,
Yes.
and then to have your artwork around. I mean, it's
Yes.
amazing. You
And
guys
to be around
opened-
some wonderful people,
Oh, yeah, the
too,
people are
just to
amazing.
mention
Yes.
too, is that, 21 years ago, and actually many of these people I've worked with before in different shows, and it's all come together. Sue Checkaway, the director, I've worked with her before, and Roberta Campion, I've worked with her, and Diana Agostino is the assistant director. I've worked with her, but also 21 years ago when I did this, our our Dulcinea, Jennifer, she was Dulcinea. She was Aldonza
Really?
in that show.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's such an honor to be able to work with her, and I'm so humbled to be able to work with her on this level.
Yeah.
And then when I was at St. Dunstan's, I worked with Michael Sancho. He was, and he's very funny on stage. He's a joy to work with. I worked with him. He was Sancho, and I was a muleteer again. And to be able to work with them and be familiar with these delightful people, and to be able to work with these people, and everybody in the cast is one of them. There are intense moments, there are funny moments, but everything came together full circle.
Okay, you guys open Friday, right?
We do open Friday.
Okay, so you open Friday.
Yes.
How long is the run? Is it 3 weeks?
It goes September 12th through the 28th.
Okay,
Yes.
and the showtime.
It's
different.
now 7:30.
Okay, so
Yes.
not 8 o'clock because it used to be 8 o'clock.
It used
start.
to be 8 o'clock.
Okay,
It's
so
now
7:30, and then matinees are. Did those move
2
up too?
o'clock.
So those are still at 2.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
How's the house looking?
How's the house looking? Well, we're selling. So Sundays are. If you want to go on a Sunday, I would say get online to the www.birminghamvillageplayers.com and get your tickets as soon as you can, because those are going to sell out pretty quickly, and there are opening is starting to pick up quite a bit because we're approaching really quickly. And I tell you, after the first weekend, it sometimes gets really tough to get tickets. So if you do want to see the show, I would say get your tickets as soon as possible, because if after the first weekend, then word of mouth spreads. People hear that they're like, oh my goodness, I need to get my tickets right away.
Okay, so if Emily and I call you and say, hey man, we know a guy, right? We need tickets.
We might know a guy. You'll get a guy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, listen, I cannot wait to see this. It is not. It's from the 1960s, right? Correct?
Yes.
So it's not kid appropriate, really.
There are some mature moments. There are some very fun and funny and delightful, lighthearted moments in it, but there are some intense moments and some tragic moments. There are some people who've lived some very, very rough lives, and these are prisoners. These are people who are cast aside by society, and yes, I would say that it's not necessarily for a very young audience, a little bit more mature.
Okay, well, we hear musicals, so sometimes parents and families will say, "Oh, let's take the kids," and no, let's not.
Not the young ones.
Yes.
Maybe your age.
Yes. What's the website again?
www.birminghamvillageplayers.com.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Cannot wait to see it, Jude. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, so my birthday's this month. I'm trying to deal with that, but So I only tell you that because when I did start the show, one of the segments was halfway to 100, and that came about because I was literally driving in my car, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm halfway to 100, because there's so many things that come up with that, right? So that has been about aging gracefully. It's also been about taking care of our loved ones. I mentioned my grandfather. It was just about it's connecting resources. It's relationships with people. It's helping all of our older people who have done so much for us, and kind of giving them the respect that they deserve, and those conversations. So I actually was lucky enough because Jewish Senior Life of Metro Detroit, I have a relation. They were our featured nonprofit a couple of times, and so I was grateful enough that I said, hey, can we come there? Can Dean and I come there, and can we talk to your residents? And can we hang out with them? And can I ask them about resilience? Can I ask them these questions? And they said, sure, why not? So we are going to watch a video and with Mr. Steve. So let's watch it. So I am here with Stephen Myers. And Stephen, you are how old?
100.
That is amazing.
Yes.
And
I've been retired for 30 years.
Okay.
As it turns out, my older daughter, that is retired as of the 1st of August. So now I gave her instructions on what to do, and she knows the thing to do is keep living.
And how do you do that?
I read a lot. I get lessons on my computer. I get lessons in-house here.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep busy just doing that. 2-3 hours a day. And I enjoy myself living here.
Have a lot of friends?
Well, I have a lot of friends, but mostly women.
I've heard that about the men here, but
There are very few men. I play bridge.
okay.
I play some other games, but life has been good.
How would you define resilience? Being 100 years old, how have you been resilient all these years?
Think positively. You got to think that everything is good. Take a positive attitude. Enjoy other people. And I give my daughter the same advice now that she's retired. I hope she can do the same as I did.
Exactly. What so if you had the chance to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell him?
Same thing I would tell my daughter. To enjoy retirement. Think of it as a step forward, and you'll enjoy it, as I did.
So enjoying it is key.
Yes, think positive.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for thinking positive and enjoyment and being retired 30 years. That is amazing. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. And your birthday's in April, so I'm going to wish you a happy April birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Right? Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
And again, that was Stephen Myers, 100 years old. And a big thank you again to Jewish Senior Life of Metro Detroit. They're fabulous. I spoke to everyone ranging in age from 69 to 100. He was the 100-year-old, obviously. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to ask you both, what would you tell your younger self if you were to meet her for coffee?
I'm going to cry. Like, don't make everything so hard. And it's all going to work out.
I think I'll echo that a little bit. Be kind to yourself. Don't be too hard. It's a long journey, and it helps if you can be kind to yourself as you're kind to other people.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Yes.
What a great conversation today for our 92nd episode. Okay. Emily, where can people find your book?
Amazon's the best place.
Okay. And you have a big event coming up.
And I have a big event. Our third big event for Empowered Moms is October 5th.
Okay.
At the Detroit Marriott Southfield. We actually sold out tickets over the weekend, and we called the venue, and I said that's not okay because we have a month more to go. So we got 20 more seats added.
Okay. So how do people get those tickets?
That is on empoweredmoms.co.
Okay.
So just go straight to our website. We have general admission left, and we can't wait to see who shows up that we can just pour into them, because it's clearly one of my favorite events. It's like Christmas morning for me.
That is awesome.
I would do it every weekend if I could. If I had that kind of energy. But we're going to take care of ourselves.
We're going to take care of ourselves, right? We're going to do it. We're going to be kind. Okay. And Jude, you have opening night September 12th.
Yes.
Right? So September 12th. And looking forward to seeing that show and, talking to you and getting to know the background. It's going to make it even that much more special. To see you up there on stage. So
Excellent.
I can't wait. And Emily are going to get tickets. We're going to get our popcorn and we're going to go.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Again, it was a 3-week break. We're happy to be back. This has been show 92. The weather is getting a little bit chilly out there. So like I always say, keep the coffee hot. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.